views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Straight ahead on this edition of Perspectives, we go front and center dealing with the coronavirus. The issue at hand, how do you deal if you're a business? How do you deal if you're a person? And now you have to reinvent yourself virtually. Well, we're coming to you with a virtual show, but we want to let you know some virtual tips and really how to really be connected. That's straight ahead on this edition of Perspectives with yours truly, Daren Jaime.
Let 'em know.
What's on your mind? What's on your mind?
Let 'em know. Anything relevant to life, you bring it to the table. Whether you make a move solo or a movement with a stable. No fables, you speak on your decisions. Cause in the long run, it's your voice, your views, your vision. Keeping it real with many messages for you to know. This ain't radio, but DJ runs the show. Entertainment, he rocks it. Politics, he locks it. The host with the most would handle any topic. Don't forget to share your perspective with shines of light. Cause it might make a difference in someone else's life.
Make a difference.
What's your perspective?
Express what's in your heart and your mind. Share your perspective.
What's your perspective?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Perspectives. I am Daren Jaime. Of course, we thank you for joining us. As always, you can check Perspectives out every week here on BronxNet's Channel 67, Verizon Fios Channel 33, or check us out on the web at bronxnet.org. We are coming to you virtually, and as you know, the coronavirus has had a tremendous impact on a lot of people across the nation, and not just across the nation, but across the world. But we here are still committed to bringing you news, information, and content that will be able to help and assist you during this time of being shut in, that you won't be shut out of content, you won't be shut out of information. And so we invite you to stay connected to us on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can also hit me up on my professional page, Daren C. Jaime on Facebook, find out some information as well as some inspiration. But as we said at the top of our show, coronavirus has definitely had an adverse effect in New York City. The numbers continue to grow. Businesses shut down. People forced to shelter in place. And now the question is, how do you survive from indoors? Businesses are now moving and they've got to have an online presence. Some people, it's not even some people, all of our students now have to have an online presence. Teachers who may not have been so technologically savvy now have to have it. And even yours truly, we don't have it all together, but we're still working it out with the online presence. So we decided to bring somebody in here on Perspectives to really talk about that, talk about businesses, and to let us know a little bit more about what we can do in a time such as this. You've seen her before as a guest here on Perspectives. We're glad to have Tiffany Joy Murchison back with us, and she has her own PR company. And Tiffany, good to have you.
Hi, Daren. How are you? Great to be back again with you guys.
Good to have you back. And yes, you are. We're glad to have you back. But for such a time as this, I think we need you. And so we're going to be calling on you, and today in particular. So let's start like this. First of all, talk about, for you, how has the coronavirus actually affected you and your public relations business?
So for me, I think folks don't realize that PR is an essential service. They don't categorize public relations as essential. So I'm a consultant. My agency consults, and usually consultants are the first to go. So I had some worry or some concern that we would lose a few contracts. But then as things started to shift, the second week in, people started to realize, oh, shoot, I need to do this virtually, and I don't know what I'm doing. And so then the calls started to come in, things started to ramp up because folks are looking for information, looking how to transition to being virtual and looking to protecting their brand over this time. So some days we seem like we're losing folks, and then other days our phones are ringing off the hook. I'm just waiting for it to get to the point where it balances out some. But, of course, we're always here to help. So
right.
we're excited.
Well, talk to us about from a PR perspective, right? If you're looking and you're trying to tell people, listen, now is the time that you're being forced to have to really adjust, and you have to make these adjustments. What would you initially tell people about this whole virtual marketing and virtual, not even marketing, but how about just let's start off with presence?
Right. So right now you either have to exist virtually or you don't exist at all. And that's, like the kit and caboodle. The first thing I say to people is don't panic. Businesses can survive through this. It's about reinventing yourself. It's about rebranding yourself. It's about being creative. And most importantly, it's about staying professional through this particular time. Everybody is home. The kids are home. Mom and dad are home. Whoever, like the whole household is home at one time. And it's really easy to get very relaxed and not pay attention to what people are paying attention to. So just like you and I are here on this virtual call, most businesses have had no choice but to switch to virtual meetings, whether they be phone conversations or video. Phone conversations or conference calls are a little bit easier to manage, but still can have some impact on your brand. But video calling and virtual meetings, people really, really need to be careful with what they're showcasing. And that means paying attention to how you're dressed, your presence on the call, and also paying attention to the things that are in the background behind you. And that takes some cooperation with everybody in the household, but it actually can be done. But protecting your brand when all is said and done, the folks that are going to rise from the ashes are going to be those who show that they were able to pivot, that they were able to hold to a certain level of professionalism, and that they just kind of rocked and rolled with the turbulent times. We are going to come out of this. Right. It's your decision whether or not you come out with your business thriving or whether you come out now and you've closed your doors and you're looking for a job.
And that's what I was telling some people that, even now, and I caution that a lot of us are working from home. There are offices and businesses that are relying on their employees to work and do their job from home. But talk to me about this because, some employers, they can see how much you've been on and how much you're supposed to be on. But if you're taking a real vacation at home because you're staying at home, you're going to go back to work, or you could quite possibly lose your job.
Right. You could end up not going back to work.
Right. And that's a terrible thing. But unfortunately, some people don't understand that whole concept of working from home doesn't give you vacation. It just means you have to work from home.
Right. So I think that this is going to be a time where anybody that was smoking mirrors, the smoke's going to clear. So it's easier to slack off when you're in an office and you have layers and layers of people in a team. It's easier to cover up whether or not you've done what you're supposed to been doing or not. Working from home really kind of shows your true work ethic. Some people, like I know me, working from home means I don't have to travel. So I'm literally on the laptop. And this is even when I worked for someone else, not for myself. I was up on the laptop at 7, 8 in the morning. And I'm, my family's like, hello. And it's like 9, 10 o'clock at night. And I'm still in front of that laptop. So you've got to find some balance in there. This is not a staycation. This is not, I don't have to do anything. This is definitely if I wasn't doing good at work before, if my boss didn't think I had a good work ethic then, this is the time that I can show improve and kind of make up for that, because people look for who is supporting them, where the work comes from, who's ready to jump in and show the team effort. So they're going to look at how you get through this time. And you could have kind of been messing up. But if you show improve during this pandemic, folks are going to give you a second look. On the flip side of it, if you totally just check out, then you're going to check out all the way. You won't have a job because everybody has to go lean. Everybody has to scale back. Businesses are going to start to realize what they need and what they don't need. And so if we had an office that sat 20 people, and now I realize I can get the same amount of work done or more in a smaller office and have certain people work remote, then I'm going to scale that back. So businesses are really going to start to go lean during this time. And you don't want to be one of the fat that they cut.
And it's not just going to be during this time, it's going to be after, right? Because, once we recognize, wow, we can be able to save money. There's some people who are not going to get the call back, and there'll be some people who will be, reduced right where you are.
So if you are in the web development business, if you are a company like a Zoom or a GoToMeeting, right now your phones are ringing off the hook. People are subscribing because they don't have a choice. Google Meet, like we're using, all those things. So those companies are going to, their business is going to go up. Once you realize that I can pay $50 a month and have 10 people on a video call versus paying $1,000 a month for the real estate, then I'm going to probably cut the real estate. This is going to be our new normal. The business landscape has been forever changed. It will never look like it did 3 weeks ago. We may go back to, or we have to go back to some in-person things like salons and personal services and spas and pampering. But a lot of folks are going to realize that grocery delivery is available, and they're going to continue to do that. So it's convenient, right? So folks are going to identify what's convenient, where they can scale back and be lean and operate lean. And they're also going to realize where they should have been investing in themselves and in their business before, and even in their employees. That we're not going to go back to business as usual. There isn't no such a thing anymore.
Tiffany Joy Murchison is our guest here on Perspective. Stay with us. We got to take a quick break. We've got more show coming up right after this. Back here on Perspectives, Daren Jaime here with you, and want to let you know this is a very special Perspectives as we are coming virtually, and that is the order of the day. As you know, New York City continues to be on lockdown. Much of the country continues to be on lockdown. Much of the world on lockdown following the coronavirus. The numbers continue to rise. The governor urging people to stay at home and flatten the curve, and we can do our part right here on Perspectives by encouraging you to do your best job in terms of staying home, flattening the curve. Unless it's essential, please, just stay at home. It's a little while. It's uncomfortable. Some of us may have cabin fever, but in the end, we're all going to come out the better for it. I kind of like this meme that I saw the other day when it talks about, I feel like, I'm the kid who's in school and, I'm getting penalized for recess. I'm losing recess time because the kids don't want to act right. We're going to spend more time behind closed doors if people don't act right in helping to flatten the curve. Tiffany Joy Murchison, our guest here, talking, and I see you shaking your head like, yeah, we're losing recess time, girl.
I know. I'm fortunate to have a backyard space, so we just kind of go out in the backyard for a little while and come back in. It's a little chilly still, though, but folks need to take it seriously. They really, really do. New York is being infected 5 times higher than every other hotspot in every other city, state. So we really, really need to take it seriously. And, I said to somebody this morning, I think this generation of people, society right now is a little soft. We used to having our way. We're a little spoiled, and it could be a whole lot worse. I think about folks who have lived through like chemical warfare zones and things of that nature. And I'm grateful because I'm here. My children are fine. My family's fine, thank God. And, we can go outside and have some fresh air and take a break. There are areas when things have happened because of times of war and they couldn't go outside or open a window. So if you got to stay away from folks for a little while, just stay away from folks for a little while.
And we'll get through this. I mean, I think about this is the time when people are having to deal with the people in their homes who are should be the most important people, right? And then on a business perspective, you're doing the most important task that you possibly can do in the best manner in which you can do it. And, and so let me tap into the business perspective for a minute. A lot of small businesses across the United States are being affected by this. We know that there's a stimulus package that's coming. It's going to make its way towards Americans. But given that, you've got small businesses like barbers and nail salons. We talked about this, right? Massage places. You've got food service places. They're open, but yet and still, many of them are still, even though they're doing takeout, are still receiving cutbacks. So how do you see this playing out? And as a PR person, what are you coaching businesses to do in this season?
So how I see this playing out is insurance companies are going to make a lot more money because there are certain insurances that if we as a community and the small business community needs to be better educated, there are insurance policies that cover certain things like this. So what I'm telling businesses to do is to contact your local chamber of commerce. If you belong to a chamber of commerce, reach out to them. They will have some programs for you. They can give you the information that's coming down from the government. Reach out to your local SBS and SBA offices. Yes, they are swamped, so it may take a little while for them to get back to you, but be consistent with reaching out until you get answers. I tell business owners to limit their news cycle. Do not watch the news all day long. Get news from reputable news outlets. Take it in strides, and then spend the rest of the time focusing on how you can rebrand, how you can increase your brand awareness, and how you can pivot so that your business is still able to operate. Restaurants have a great opportunity right now in the fact that while they are having to scale back, they can still operate in some capacity. So that is a blessing. But the other side of that is maybe they can be a blessing to someplace else. There are plenty of places in the community where folks are needing food. And if you have food that you have ordered and supplies that you have ordered and you can't use them, you think they're going to go to waste because your online ordering is just not at capacity, then do something with that food. Donate it somewhere, prepare meals, get with somebody that can deliver them for you. And in the long run, you'll have a great story to tell. So when you talk about your brand awareness and your PR, because when we come out of hard times, we tend to support the folks that we could see doing good in a time of despair, right? So if I'm a restaurant and I have, 13 bags of fries that I know that I'm not going to be able to use and it's going to go to waste, I'm going to find somebody to donate that 13 bags of fries to, prepare it, box it up, and say, hey, even if it is, you guys can figure out a way to come get it. So find a way to be useful in your community and to give back, even if it's outside of what your normal business practices are, even if it's not, if you're a baker and you have access to a kitchen, maybe allow someone to use that kitchen to prepare something for a homeless shelter or something along those lines. But you can definitely make yourself relevant and be at the top of mind when we come out of this pandemic.
Yeah, you talked about food. I was on a conference call the other day wearing my other hat as a pastor, dealing with Attorney General Tish James.
Yes.
And she was sharing how, and pastors were actually sharing across New York City, how the food from the food bank has not necessarily made it to their doors. And so they can't stock the food pantry to be able to get food to people. And so 100% spot on you are with regards to getting food out to from businesses or restaurants that may have some excess. There are a lot of people out there who still are in need and definitely can be blessed by it. I want to go to this topic right here, right? So everybody's at home. Mom's at home. Dad's at home. The kids are at home. And everybody's got to function, right? So mother's got a job. She's got to check in online. Dad's got a job. He's got to be online too. The kids have a job. To do because they got schoolwork that they have to do, and now they've got to also be on the computer as well. If I don't have but one computer in the house, or I'm working on my laptop, that could pose a problem for a household. So talk to me about households that have two parents, they've got kids, because there's a lot of juggling that has to go on in this time and space.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, if you have a child that is school age and they have homeschooling, the schools are providing devices. There are also, I believe it was like T-Mobile, Apple, some of the cell phone companies are providing devices for school age children as well. So there are ways for you to get a device in your house. So that's one. Everybody needs a device. The second thing I would say, which is the most important thing, is not to deviate from your daily routine. In order for the family to feel some sort of normalcy and for the kids to understand that this is serious and this is not a free-for-all, right? Because you need the kids' cooperation. You'll never get through the day if you don't have the kids cooperating in some way, shape, or form, right?
Right.
So get up at your normal time. Maybe the kids sleep a little bit later just so that you can prepare for the day. But don't say, okay, I need to start work at 10 and the kids need to be at school at 9, so we're going to get up at 8:30. Don't do that. Get up at the regular time, get yourself, meditate, pray, whatever it is that you need to do, get a 15-minute workout. So many people are giving free online workouts. So if you weren't a person that worked out in the morning, get in a habit of doing a 10 or 15 minute routine. It will help with stress relief. It will help you have more energy during the day. Trust me when I tell you it works. So get up, have your normal routine, get the kids ready, get dressed for work.
Right.
For a number of reasons. One, being dressed a certain way impacts productivity and attitude. That's, hands down, we've known that statistically for a long time, that your dress impacts your mood, your posture, and everything else. Secondly, is you want to keep professionalism between you and your coworkers. They don't need to know what your bedroom looks like. They don't need to see you in your warm and fuzzy pajamas. Those things are going to be maker or breakers when it comes time to decide who we're keeping when we go back to the new normal and who we're not, right? The other thing that people don't think about is how that impacts you later on. So if it's a person of the, I was going to say a person of the opposite sex, but a person that may have been attracted to you in some way, shape, or form, we don't think about the subconscious. So if I'm looking at you sitting in your bathrobe or in your bedroom, that's a distraction. I can see your lips moving, but I'm paying attention to what I may visualize some other way else. And we don't want to have those conversations and we don't want to say it, but let's keep it 100, right? So people don't need to know you that way. You don't need to bring your whole self to the video call. So that's the other thing. When you have everybody in the house together, mom, dad, son, daughter, dog, try as much as possible to give everybody their own little space, even if it's just carving out a corner. You're in this corner, this is your corner, and give everybody what they would possibly need to get through the first half, at least, of the day, right? And make sure everybody just has a little space. Now, we know toddlers, they're not going to stay in that little space for very long. Right. But it's routine. Kids are smart and they want to help. So if you make it as, hey, I need you to help mommy and daddy do this, and you have to be a big girl or you have to be a big boy, kids will fall in line as much as they have the capacity to do that. Take into consideration.
Let me take a quick break. Finish it. Let me take a quick break. Jump in here. I want you to finish that point when we return. Let me take a quick break here on Perspectives. We'll be right back right after this. And we're back here on Perspectives. Daren Jaime here with you, and we are talking about coping with the coronavirus. We're going to have to deal with this. A lot of people are making adaptations, and one of them are, how do you adapt at home, right? And so Tiffany Joy Murchison was telling us a little bit about this. And Tiffany, go back to where we left off in terms of that presentation, right? Because I think I really got into the place where if I'm at home, I don't have to show everything that's going on in my home.
Right. Be mindful of your background when you're on a video call, what's behind you. You don't want the laundry basket over here to the right full of dirty clothes. You don't want the dog's wee-wee pad over here to the left. You really want to, as much as you can, control the image that you're portraying, because that's going to stay in people's minds long after you're off that video call, long after you guys are back in the office, so you walk in the office and folks are giving you a side eye. You got to think about what you showed them on that video call or what they heard in the background. Be considerate that everybody has a heightened stress level. Everybody's home. Nobody's getting the space that they need from one another. So just be considerate. I would also say with employers, be transparent to some degree. Set expectations. So if they're saying, well, we need to get on a call every morning at 10 o'clock, if that doesn't work for you, don't just sit there and say, okay, and then be scrambling and embarrassed in the background. So be transparent and say, hey, listen, look, we've got 3 toddlers and 10 o'clock is a little too early. Can we push to 10:30 or 11? Like, you've really got to be transparent and set folks' expectations in that way, but not too transparent.
And I think everybody understands it because we all have different dynamics. And now that you push everybody back home, there is a set of different dynamics that we all have to deal with. Because someone's going to be comfortable, someone's going to be uncomfortable. Let's talk about the small business package, right? The government talked about possibly getting a small business package out as part of that stimulus in the fact of all that's going on. What are your thoughts about the stimulus package and how it's going to make its way to businesses?
So I don't want folks to get too excited because there are some parameters around that. So, for example, if you haven't kept up with all your taxes, you're not eligible. if you have any fines or anything that you owe the city. So if you owe the city or you owe the state or you owe the government for any reason, you're not going to be eligible. So that's going to cut quite a few folks out of being able to do that. Then you think about businesses that don't necessarily have, like barbers or domestic workers who are taking care of children, live-in nannies. They don't necessarily have the documentation that supports the income. And so, we're waiting it out, but we're looking to see what those requirements will be, because there's going to be a lot of folks who can't meet those requirements, a lot of folks who can't apply for unemployment insurance. So as much as we can help our small businesses try to keep their employees on, even if it's, going from full-time to part-time, we as a community of small business owners need to support one another as much as we possibly can and keep that dollar generating within our community, especially those of us of color. We need to keep the money circulating in our community for longer than 2 hours, because that's really the only way we're going to be able to sustain.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of challenges. Short-term goals for what you see happening as far as businesses are concerned. What things should people be focusing on over the next several weeks? Because it's going to be, I'll say, for instance, 6 weeks. We know New York City is going to be longer than that probably, but
Right.
Let's just say 6 weeks. Over the next 6 weeks, if I'm a small business, what am I doing?
Look at where you can branch out and provide a service that's needed right now in this time. So look for something that you can quickly switch your business model to doing that people need, that's essential to folks right now, and figure out how to show them that they need it, that it is essential, that you are an essential supporter, essential contractor, essential business. The other thing I would say is to take this time to learn. Read more books than you've read before. Take some online courses. There's a lot of stuff out there that's free, but educate yourself. Use the time to become a little bit more savvy. And if you don't have a good financial foundation, find someone who can tell you what that looks like. There are a number of nonprofit organizations that will help you in all of those areas. One of them I know is Start Small, Think Big. They're excellent. There's Neighborhood Trust Financial Partners. They're also excellent. Start setting the foundation so that when things do ramp up, you make sure that you don't find yourself in a place where you don't know if you're going to sink or swim again, that you have that nest egg to at least carry you. I think people are really starting to see why they say you should have 6 months worth of bills saved up and so forth and so on. But educate yourself, look at your business and see where you can pivot, what you can expand to do that's essential. Definitely keep your professionalism tip top, and reach out, support others in your community, get with other business owners and see how you all can work together to stay afloat. We're actually going to be hosting a webinar on April 2nd. And so folks can reach out to us at TJM & Co. and we'll put them on the mailing list for more information. But it's about 5 business owners that we're all getting together to give a free webinar for this very thing so that business owners can survive.
Give us the information once again. How do they reach out and connect if they want to do that?
So if you want more information about the webinar, which is going to happen on April 2nd, send an email to purpose@tjmandco.com. That's TJM & Co. So purpose@tjmandco.com. Just say, I heard about the webinar, and we'll put you on the mailing list and make sure that you have the information you need to register. It's like I said, about 5 or 6 business owners, and we all are going to give about 10 minutes of best practices, free tools that you can use, how to collect data and use that data to your advantage. And then we're going to do some fun stuff, a little creative sprint, so folks can not be so stressed out and tell you how to add that creativity to your daily routine.
All right. Well, Tiffany Joy Murchison, we got to leave it there. Thank you so much for the time. I think you gave us some well-needed information. And for those people who are trying to navigate virtually, definitely an entry level into what to do, definitely what not to do to navigate, because we want people, when we come out of this, to be able to maintain their jobs and to be able to take it on the upswing rather than having this experience cause a downswing in their life. Thank you so much.
Right. Anytime.
Alrighty. Yep. Well, Tiffany Joy Murchison, our guest here on Perspectives, want to thank her for joining us. Want to thank you for watching. And so listen, we encourage you, even in this time where we are virtual, to make the most of this season. Enjoy it as best as you possibly can. And this is maybe a time for some of us to reinvent ourselves. It may be a time for some of us to really reflect. Maybe it's a time also for even people, we haven't talked about this, but you can actually probably save some money if you do have a job, right? You might be able to save more money than ever before because you're not going out, you're not eating, you're not doing all these kind of things, right? So please take advantage of the season that we're in. It's going to get better, but you got to do some better things as well. For all of us here on the Set of Perspectives, I am Daren Jaime saying take care. God bless. Share your perspective with somebody else. It just might make a difference in somebody else's life. Take care.